Welcome to Space Drift. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The Gordie Howe International Bridge, a $4.8 billion marvel of modern engineering, was envisioned as a powerful symbol of the enduring partnership between Detroit and Windsor. Stretching across the Detroit River, it was designed to physically and metaphorically connect two nations, promising a future built on cooperation and shared prosperity. Its soaring towers and sweeping cables heralded a new era for the world's busiest bilateral trade corridor, offering hope to ease the relentless pressure on the aging Ambassador Bridge and streamline the flow of billions in cross-border commerce. For years, business leaders and policymakers alike saw it as a lifeline for North American trade. But as the bridge nears completion in autumn 2025, it opens onto a landscape marked not by celebration, but by economic anxiety and uncertainty. The optimism that once surrounded the project has been clouded by new challenges. Instead of unity, the bridge now overlooks a tense battlefield of tariffs, trade barriers, and political posturing. The very border it was meant to unite has become a flashpoint for disagreement. The timing is painfully ironic, a decade-long project to bring two allies closer together, now finished just as they seem to be drifting further apart. The bridge's completion coincides with a period of rising protectionism and diplomatic strain. The bridge's advanced customs facilities and dedicated truck lanes were meticulously designed to strengthen supply chains, boost output, and ensure the smooth movement of goods. It was meant to be a beacon of efficiency and innovation at the border. Yet, the cooperative spirit that inspired its creation has been overshadowed by confrontation and growing uncertainty. The sense of partnership has given way to suspicion and hesitation. Officials on both sides now find themselves grappling with complex trade disputes and shifting policies, rather than focusing on logistics and mutual benefit. The bridge's promise is caught in the crossfire of political agendas. The bridge stands as a silent witness to a widening diplomatic and economic chasm, its empty lanes a stark metaphor for the distance growing between two longtime partners. Its grand opening, once anticipated as a celebration of connection, now serves as a sobering reminder of what's at stake if trust and collaboration continue to erode between neighbors. The future of North American trade and the prosperity of millions hangs in the balance, resting on the fragile promise of a bridge that was meant to unite, but now stands between hope and discord. The latest wave of trade turmoil erupted in March 2025, sending shockwaves through global markets and reigniting old tensions between the United States and its closest trading partners. This upheaval began as former President Trump made his dramatic return to the White House, determined to reshape America's economic relationships on his own terms. Almost immediately, he reignited his signature tariff-first foreign policy, promising to put America first, no matter the cost to international cooperation. A sweeping 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum was imposed, sending shockwaves through cross-border industries and threatening thousands of jobs on both sides of the border. The administration's rationale was broad, protecting American jobs, boosting domestic manufacturing, and pressuring Canada on unrelated issues like fentanyl trafficking and border security. By July, the tariffs expanded to 35% on a wide range of Canadian imports, with little warning and maximum disruption for businesses scrambling to adapt. Trump's approach treats trade as a zero-sum game, wielding tariffs as blunt instruments to force concessions and gain leverage in negotiations. For Canada, whose economy is deeply intertwined with the US, the uncertainty has a chilling effect on investment, long-term planning, and the livelihoods of countless workers. The administration's threats and unpredictable moves extend to dozens of countries, alienating traditional allies and sparking a wave of global retaliation that threatens to upend established trade norms. The European Union, for example, responded forcefully, hitting back with $28 billion in counter-tariffs targeting key American exports and escalating the standoff. For Canada and the world, the rules of trade can now change with a single tweet, leaving businesses, workers, and governments bracing for what comes next. No sector is more exposed to the US-Canada trade war than automotive manufacturing. North American car production relies on a seamless border, with parts crossing multiple times before final assembly. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and a broader range of goods threaten to unravel this just-in-time system, raising costs at every crossing. Automakers must choose between absorbing costs or passing them to consumers. Either way, jobs and demand are at risk. Michigan alone could lose up to 13,000 jobs as companies restructure or scale back. the threat of even harsher tariffs looms, risking catastrophic disruption for both countries' auto industries. The USMCA agreement shields some goods, but its 2026 review is clouded by uncertainty. Automakers now operate in limbo, unable to plan for a stable future. The 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum was the first flashpoint. Canada is America's top supplier of these essential materials, feeding directly into U.S. factories and defense. The administration claims national security, but critics argue the integrated North American market makes such tariffs self-defeating. U.S. manufacturers now face higher input costs, making them less competitive or forcing them to raise prices for consumers. Everyday goods, from cars to cans, are more expensive, acting as a hidden tax. Canada retaliated with targeted tariffs on U.S. goods, escalating the conflict. The result, a feedback loop of protectionism, disrupting supply chains and raising costs on both sides. The Gordie Howe Bridge, built to carry these goods, now stands as a symbol of trade caught in the crossfire. What began as protection for one industry now threatens the economic health of both nations. The trade war has turned U.S.-Canada relations into a high-stakes diplomatic chess match where every move is scrutinized and the consequences ripple far beyond the negotiating table. The atmosphere is tense, with both sides weighing their options carefully, knowing that a single misstep could escalate the conflict. Trump's unpredictable transactional style links trade to unrelated issues, keeping allies off balance and straining sovereignty. He often uses tariffs and threats as bargaining chips, making it difficult for traditional partners to anticipate his next move or build lasting trust. Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, brings global financial expertise and a strategy of firm but measured response. His background at the Bank of England and Bank of Canada gives him a unique perspective on international markets and economic diplomacy. Carney matches U.S. tariffs with targeted retaliation, but also makes calculated concessions, like rescinding a digital services tax, to keep talks alive. He balances assertiveness with pragmatism, aiming to protect Canadian interests while avoiding unnecessary escalation. He avoids public spats, instead building alliances and highlighting the mutual harm of tariffs. Carney's approach is to quietly strengthen Canada's position through behind-the-scenes negotiations and coalition building with other global leaders. Canada aims to rally U.S. business and political leaders against protectionism, hoping to isolate Trump's approach. By appealing to shared economic interests, Carney seeks to create pressure from within the U.S. to reconsider aggressive trade tactics. The contrast is stark. Trump bets on disruption and leverage, Carney on patience and coalition building. Their differing philosophies set the tone for each round of negotiations, shaping the future of North American trade. The reversal of a threatened 50% steel tariff after a single meeting shows Trump's tactics can yield quick wins, but also how volatile the situation remains. Such abrupt changes leave industries and workers on both sides of the border uncertain about what comes next. But the long-term stability of the relationship depends on whether confrontation or careful diplomacy prevails. The world is watching to see if these two leaders can find common ground, or if their rivalry will deepen the divide. The stakes for both nations have never been higher, as the outcome will shape not just trade, but the broader partnership for years to come. The US-Canada dispute is part of a broader challenge to the global trading order. America's tariffs on allies in Europe and Asia have pushed traditional partners closer together, seeking stability amid US unpredictability. Canada, under Carney, is urgently diversifying trade, strengthening ties with the UK and EU to reduce dependence on the US. The EU, facing similar tariffs, has responded with its own countermeasures, creating a united front among US allies. Institutions like the WTO are now forums for challenging US policy. This global pushback complicates America's strategy, showing even the largest economy can't act unilaterally without consequences. The world is shifting toward a multipolar trading system with new alliances and risks. The US may no longer be the undisputed center, a profound shift triggered by its own protectionist turn. As autumn 2025 arrives, the future of US-Canada relations is clouded by uncertainty. The Gordie Howe Bridge, once a symbol of connection, opens amid economic conflict and diplomatic strain. The looming 2026 USMCA review could stabilize trade or plunge North America into chaos. Prolonged conflict threatens to fracture supply chains, force costly reshoring, and erode global competitiveness. The damage extends beyond economics. Trust and goodwill between the nations are fraying. Rebuilding that trust will take years, if not decades. The bridge now stands as a metaphor for a relationship at a crossroads. One path leads back to cooperation and shared prosperity. The other, toward protectionism and division. The choice will define the North American story for a generation.